Shalom, everybody. I've received a lot of requests recently as to my opinion regarding other esoteric traditions, secret societies, and in particular, Freemasonry. I get this question a lot, and they ask, what is the viewpoint of Kabbalah in Freemasonry? So, I figured I would make this video to address precisely this question. Now, a new curriculum has been started on school, that of which I will leave a link for down below if you would like to learn the advanced curriculum. In addition to this, a new PDF document called the World Peace Initiative has been created. A few pre-trial videos have been uploaded regarding that, and I expect to see more content regarding the World Peace Initiative in the coming days and weeks. So without further ado, let us enter in to the secrets of the Kabbalah, according to the opinion of Freemasonry. Now, Freemasonry is the oldest continuous fraternity in the world. When people think of Freemasonry, many different conspiratorial theories, the Illuminati, and other such things come to mind. However, most of those who are actually Freemasons are unaware of the underlying and inner principles behind it. According to the traditional Blue Lodge, there are 3 degrees, that is, Entered Apprentice, Fellowcraft, and Master Mason. According to the opinion, there is no degree conferred that is higher than Master Mason. From this point forward, there are 2 branches in which one may progress for further light. The first is that which is referred to by the Y.I.R.A.H, and the second, that which is referred to by the Scottish Rite. Now, the origins of Freemasonry are very ancient. That which can be publicly ascertained posits one date. However, the tradition itself posits another. Centered around Y.I.R.A.H and the building of the Temple of King Solomon alongside King Hiram of Tyre, the craft draws its lineage back to the time of King Solomon. However, according to other traditions, it goes even older. Now, to the conspiratorial ends, much of that which has appeared in pop culture have come from outright lies or blatant propaganda created in a long checkered history of various forms of opposition, whether it be by church-controlled institutions or fanatic Protestants who exaggerated and lied, creating preposterous claims and notions regarding the nature of Freemasonry. This particular lesson deals with the second of those two things that were mentioned, the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite. Regarding the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, the light continues by progression of degrees from the third degree, an example, the fourth degree, to the 32nd degree, although there is also a 33rd degree, both honorary and active. However, that is not the subject of this video. What is the subject of this video is to be found in the writings of the lectures that were given according to the conferral of these degrees in the Scottish Rite by one Albert Pike. Albert Pike was Sovereign Grand Commander of the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, the Southern Jurisdiction, and he compiled a book called Morals and Dogma, as seen here. Depicted by a double-headed eagle with the motto Ordo ab Chaos, or Order out of Chaos, we see a triangle with the number 33. This 33 symbolizes the 33 degrees that exist within inside of the Scottish Rite. That being said, Morals and Dogma will be our reference point for any authoritative and accurate communication as to the nature of the viewpoints of Kabbalah as it relates to Freemasonry. It needs to be prefaced that this lecture and information that will be provided is according to the Scottish Rite. Now, that rite has a very decorated history, at least as far as it is called the Scottish Rite, appears to a certain date. However, the underlying lineage of it, some trace directly to the Knights Templar, and some others trace even before the Knights Templar, in various secret societies or orders or fraternities or keepers of the esoteric mysteries, perhaps all the way back into antiquity. With that preface being said, I must also posit that most brothers who are considered Blue Lodge are entirely unaware of anything that I am about to say. Quoting Albert Pike directly, when giving a lecture on the degree of the Master of the Royal Secret, the 32nd degree, he posits the following. On page 819, when discussing the nature of the blue degrees, referring to the Blue Lodge. The Blue Lodge of Freemasonry is the place of initiation for the first 3 degrees. And he writes, the blue degrees are but the outer court or portico of the temple. Part of the symbols are displayed there to the initiate, but he is intentionally misled by false interpretations. It is not intended that he shall understand them, but it is intended that he shall imagine he understands them. Their true explication is reserved for the adepts, the princes of Masonry. And so it says, the whole body of the royal and sacerdotal art was hidden so carefully centuries since in high degrees as that it is even yet impossible to solve many of the enigmas which they contain. It is well enough for the mass of those called Masons to imagine that all is contained in the blue degrees, and whoso attempts to undeceive them will labor in vain. So what we find here is that the blue degrees are told a specific interpretation as to the nature of the degrees, the structure of the initiation, the symbols, the meanings, the ritual thereof, and these meanings are conferred not with the intention that they should actually understand them, but rather with the intention that they should think that they understand them, their true meaning being reserved for the adepts or princes of Masonry. I must preface that the term adept or prince of Masonry is not a degree actually conferred, meaning their true meanings are not conferred by a degree in any right. The adept or prince of Masonry is not a degree that is conferred. He also warns that trying to convince a Blue Lodge Mason of this matter is essentially futile. They believe all of the enigmas are revealed there only in the initial 3 degrees. And he further posits, it is not intended that the initiate shall understand, but rather that he should think that he understands them, their true meanings being reserved. This is the great trap of the high mysteries. For truly the wise know that only a fool thinks he actually understands, and this is the very trap of the high mysteries. It is not intended that the person should understand the mystery, rather that he should think that he understands, and in that very foolishness of thinking that he understands, he thus removes himself from any actual understanding. Just as this trap is within Masonry, it is with all of the esoteric mysteries, especially that of which concerns itself in the Kabbalah. Now, he writes here on page 744, all truly dogmatic religions have issued from the Kabbalah, and they return to it. Everything scientific and grand, and the religious dreams of all the Illuminati, Yaakov Boehme, Swedenborg, St. Martin, and others, is borrowed from the Kabbalah. All the Masonic associations owe to it their secrets and their symbols. Understand what is being said here. All truly dogmatic religions have issued from the Kabbalah. He is saying that Christianity, Islam, and of course Judaism is structured and formed around the Kabbalah, with the Kabbalah being at its root, source, and essence. This, in truth, is the secret of the 3 types of Kabbalah. For there is Kabbalah that is spelt with a K, which refers to Judeo-Kabbalah. There is the Kabbalah that is spelt with a C, which refers to that which is conferred by the Sufis in their esoteric traditions in Islam. And there's Kabbalah that is spelt with a Q. This Hermetic Kabbalah is associated with the Christian traditions. And so we find that the word Kabbalah has been transliterated into 3 different forms, K, Q, and C, hinting to the 3 dogmatic religions being referenced here. He states they have issued from the Kabbalah and they return to it. Everything scientific and grand in the religious dreams of all the Illuminati. This is very important because the Illuminati is one of the central points behind many of the conspiracy theories. Now, what they should be asking themselves is not what is the Illuminati doing, but rather what does the Illuminati know that you do not know, and why is it a secret? Here, he's revealing that. The answer to that is Kabbalah. Furthermore, Yaakov Boehme, Swedenborg, St. Martin, and others. Now, Yaakov Boehme, Swedenborg, and St. Martin all had esoteric traditions. And he's stating that they all stem from Kabbalah and they return to Kabbalah, meaning all of their mysteries are Kabbalistic in nature. He posits, it is borrowed from the Kabbalah. All the Masonic associations owe to it their secrets and their symbols. Thus he's telling us that all of Freemasonry, all of its dependent bodies, all of their symbols, they come from the Kabbalah. Every single symbol is Kabbalistic. Therefore, the adept, or the prince of Masonry, knows this secret and does not interpret the symbols outside of the Kabbalistic equation. Similarly, he's positing an even higher mystery. He's telling us that the Kabbalah is the root of all dogmatic religion and the root of all esoteric pursuits, including the Illuminati, and all of Freemasonry and its dependent bodies stem and return to the Kabbalah. Therefore, a person who truly wishes to seek that divine light, to receive illumination from those most inner things, must come to the understanding of the Kabbalah. Now, what should be posited? That these things are not conferred, meaning when a person goes through the various degrees, without going into any particular detail, these things are not conferred, meaning 99.9% of those who would be called Masons have no idea about Kabbalah. Most of them may or may not know what that word even means. This also assumes the Scottish Rite. Although some may know Kabbalah, they are Mason or brother by title and name only, not being truly and justly qualified for those things. For the Kabbalah is reserved. Thus, he mentioned adept or prince of masonry, again, in which I stated, are not degrees that are conferred. The true illumination and the true initiation in all of those regards are Kabbalistic, something that the craft itself does not teach. Again, something that the craft itself does not teach. However, he writes, the Kabbalah alone consecrates the alliance of the universal reason and divine word. The Kabbalah alone consecrates the alliance of the universal reason and the divine word. It establishes, by the counterpoises of two forces apparently opposite, the eternal balance of being. It alone reconciles reason with faith, power with liberty, science with mystery. It has the keys of the present, the past, and the future. You must therefore understand. The Bible, with all the allegories it contains, expresses in an incomplete and veiled manner only the religious science of the Hebrews. Because the Kabbalah is the most inner level of the writings, and to this degree they were aware. Albert Pike so much as states this explicitly. Now, amongst our sages, it is very self-evident and clear when speaking upon the nature of the Kabbalah, what its significance is, being the most inner level of the Torah and all of the writings of the prophets, etc. Therefore, the opinions here are not for the opinions of our sages, but rather for the opinion of what Freemasonry has to say about the Kabbalah. According to Albert Pike here, there is nothing more important than the Kabbalah. It is the root of all religion, all scientific pursuit. It alone consecrates the alliance of universal reason and divine will. It alone is the key to not just the mysteries of the esoteric, but also that of the exoteric, meaning the revealed. Consider very carefully what has been stated here in this video. For those 99% of people who are Masons, therefore called by title and name, understand what it means to be truly and duly qualified. As David HaMelech said, open my eyes and behold the wonders of your Torah. Amen, everyone. Shalom, Selah.